But now we keep rolling with the great guests. Tom was great. Derek Bombeck was great. We know our next guest is great. He's always reliable.
Great, yeah.
And that, of course, is Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Good morning, Lee. It is bowl season starting today. Are you fired up, Lee?
Not for these two games.
Come on. You don't want to watch the Bahamas
I got to
Bowl?
be honest with you. I'm hoping to make a lot of money on them, but, I mean, there's some bad matchups. I mean, the first one we're going to go over, probably Iowa and Kentucky might go down as one of the worst matchups ever.
Oh, come on. Why do you say that? Why do you say that, Tom?
Lee.
Okay, so they played last year.
Lee.
Did you watch the bowl game last year?
No, I didn't. I
was
remember it.
20-17.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just jump right in. I mean,
Yeah.
both teams are without their starting and one team without their top two quarterbacks. Kentucky's not only without Levis are out without Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
This is bad. I mean, Kentucky, Mark Stoops fired their offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing we're pretty sure of, he's not going to hire Brian Ferentz here to replace the guy that he fired.
Yeah.
I think this comes down to coaching philosophy, how they prepare teams here.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Ferentz, 6-1 against the spread with revenge off a loss of 7 or more points, and Mark Stoops 4-9 against the spread versus an opponent off a loss with revenge here. Hold your nose. I'm taking the Hawkeyes here. 10-3.
Oh my God! Hawkeyes are 2-point favorites. 10-3. Now that would be
atrocious. Did you see the
atrocious.
total? It's 30.5. They're estimated might be the first total ever to close in the 20s in a bowl game.
10-3. You're picking Iowa over Kentucky.
Yeah, probably they're going to score on a block punt.
Some sort of special team score, probably, or defense.
Yeah.
Utah, Penn State in the Rose Bowl. Utah is a 2-point favorite. Utah is a 2-point favorite. Now, tell me you are more attracted to this game, Lee Sterling.
I am.
Okay.
But there are some opt-outs. Like it seems like every game. Penn State's going to be without their star cornerback, Joey Porter. Utah, without Tevion Thomas, their best running back. Top two tight ends, which pretty much their offense and their passing game revolves around. And one of their best linemen. So I think that Utah is good and gutsy. I just think Penn State's going to run the ball right down their throat with Singleton and Allen here. Penn State also, when they're on a roll, it seems like they can beat everyone except for the super teams, like the Michigans and Ohio State. Penn State 16-3 straight up, 17-1 against the spread, off 2 or more wins. Penn State, this will be one 30-27.
In general, Lee, with bowl games, how hard is it to pick winners when you have all the opt-outs in general for these games?
I just think I got to spend a lot more time. I mean, it used to be I would start on a Monday morning and spend all day Monday and Tuesday, 12, 13 hours with all my materials spread out, and I was ready to go by Tuesday night. I started on Sunday night and didn't finish until Wednesday night. My wife looked at me when she came across me a couple times. She said one time, she goes, do you know you have 3 computers open and probably 35 and 45 different tabs? I'm like, yeah, that's, I mean, just studying the opt-outs, the bowl history of coaches, watching some video. There's a bunch of quarterbacks that have thrown maybe 30, 40 passes this year that I had to study. So I can win. It takes a lot more work.
Join my Lee Sterling Paramount Sports going through some bowl games. The big ones coming up are the playoff games. Michigan, a 7-point favorite against TCU, the Horned Frogs. Lee, is Michigan going to the college football playoff finals?
I think there's a real good chance. TCU, I mean, it's a great story. Max Duggan, what he did in that championship game, he was incredible. The guts, and if they give him the ball in 3rd and 4th down in overtime, I think they end up with an undefeated record. But they just don't match up with Michigan. Michigan has the better offensive line, better front seven. They're going to have to hit on some big plays here and play error-free football. They can't go toe-to-toe, in my opinion, with Michigan. And college football semifinalists who allow more than 23 points a game, and that's TCU, 0-4 straight up, 1-3 against the spread last couple of years here. I think Michigan, last year, they were just happy to be there. This year, they're hungry to get it all done. Michigan, sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it, 34-20.
34-20 Michigan.
Yep.
34-20. Interesting. Okay. The other one, Georgia. I mean, it's a big one. Georgia, Ohio State. Georgia, what's that say? 6-point favorite?
Yeah.
6-point favorite, Georgia. How's it play out in your mind, Lee Sterling?
Well, Georgia has some big advantages here, playing in the same building a month ago. In fact, this will be the third time this season. And I just love what they do with all three of their running backs, Kenny McIntosh, Dejon Edwards, and also Kendall Milton. They interchange those guys, and their skill sets, they use them, and they're able to perform at a high level. C.J. Stroud was good. I mean, really good, but against the top teams, against Notre Dame, didn't play well. And then in that Michigan game, couldn't do enough to get his team lead him to the win here. So I just think that this Georgia team, unless Stetson Bennett has one of these games where he throws 2 to 3 interceptions, I think they're the right side here. Don't judge them by the way they played last week against LSU. They knew that they could turn it on at any time here. Georgia pulls away late, 37-17.
37-17 for a Georgia-Michigan final in the playoffs.
Ooh, rematch.
Interesting. What do you think the spread would be for that game, Lee, if he had to guess off the bat? Georgia-Michigan.
Georgia will be 4.5, 5.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
To the NFL, Lee, I am terrified of tomorrow night's game. Dolphins, who have lost 2 straight. Tua was horrendous against the Chargers Sunday night. Head to the Bills, where it could be an epic snowstorm. Could be some 8 inches of snow, windy conditions, the snow in the cold. Buffalo is a 7-point favorite. Do the Dolphins have any prayer of covering 7 points, let alone winning?
Okay, so the weather is a big factor. I mean, Tua has not played well and throwing the ball in those kind of conditions. And on top of that, it's going to be probably 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. So Josh Allen is fit for playing in those kind of conditions, running and throwing the football. Big advantage. I mean, the first game, if you remember that first game, Miami was outgained 497 to 212 and somehow still gained 21-19 here. Miami's got to make some changes. I was watching the cut-ups. The Chargers, one of the teams starting to figure out how to play Miami when they put a man in motion, where to put those cornerbacks, sit them on the inside instead of on the outside and try to trail them. So Miami's going to have to make some adjustments here. It's a tough setup here. I like Buffalo here, 30-17.
30-17 Bills. Dolphins will have 3 straight losses. Bills will be that close, not much closer to clinching the East. And the free play back to college football in a bowl game. Arkansas, a 3-point favorite against the Kansas Jayhawks, Lee.
Yep. They want to get it for free. Call 800-400-9741. This is a strong client play for me. 800-400-9741. Get Arkansas and Kansas on me. Anyone wants to join us for the bowl season? Had a great bowl year the last couple years. 197, 37 bowl games. First game starts at 10:30 in the morning. Your time today. We've got something on both games today. So 197, 37 bowl games from now through the 31st and 2 weeks of the NFL. We've only had 3 losing weekends. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Lee, always great stuff. Thanks for the time, and we'll talk down the road and have a great holiday season, Lee.
You too, guys. Take care.
All right, guys. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports.
Arkansas head coach's name?
Sam Pittman.
If you had TikTok, you see an area of his mansion.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
How is it?
Yeah, it's gargantuan. He has
any cool things on the outside at all? Yeah. Hot tub,
super long driveway that winds into look like about a 6-car garage. I don't know why it's random. They just showed a aerial
basketball
view.
Court, tennis court.
Didn't see that, Jake. Might be there. I didn't take a long
driving range.
I was trying to get to a critical race theory.
Oh, where are you?
Session.
Where are you? On TikTok? I'm sure you're running to that.
Hello.
Lee Sterling,
go through
recapping the picks for Lee Sterling. Again, it's about bowl season and an NFL game also. Iowa is a 2-point favorite against Kentucky. Lee says Iowa wins 10-3. So they cover the 2. They win a disgusting football game.
Opt-outs.
Opt-outs and bad offense in general.
Yeah.
Penn State, a 2-point underdog to Utah, has Penn State winning 31-27.
A lot of Utah opt-outs and a Penn State opt-out or two.
Yep. He said Joey Porter Jr. not playing, the
Right.
stud cornerback from Penn State.
Penn State.
In the playoff, Michigan a 7-point favorite against TCU. He has them covering and winning with relative ease, 34-20. So Michigan to the finals of the playoff.
I think TCU will give them a better game. I disagree with Lee on that one.
Okay.
I think Michigan will have a hard time with the Horned Frogs. I mean, like a 3-point win, probably, that goes down to the last part of the game.
I don't see them blowing TCU.
I don't.
out.
TCU's tough.
Yep, they are. Georgia has them rolling Ohio State by 20, 37-17. You see that possible?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
Blowout?
Yeah, that's a good score, by the way.
And then in the NFL, the Dolphins tomorrow night in Buffalo, 7-point dogs. Or the Dolphins Lee has them losing 30-17 to the Bills.
I mean, let's just have real talk here.
Yeah.
Real talk. What's the issue with Miami? They're not tough enough. That's
Well, they
that's
never
what it
have
is.
been. They don't play well in the cold. They're in the
they're
wrong
not
division.
Tough. They're not tough.
They should be in the AFC South.
Your horse is a weak horse. They're not tough. Why do you like that?
Here's the deal. The division makes no sense. Those teams come to Miami and they melt. The Dolphins go to the Northeast teams and they freeze.
I bet they didn't when Don Shula was the coach.
They had some troubles. I mean, they obviously won a lot of games, but they
were undefeated.
that was 1972.
Don Shula.
Right, but he was there for a long time also. They never got back to Super Bowl after 1983 or 85, whatever it was.
But I bet those Miami teams were much, much tougher minded than this one.
That's fair.
Yes.
And you think that's all about Mike McDaniel?
Largely.
We'll see. We will see. I mean, the Dolphins did not play well. The Dolphins never beat Buffalo under Brian Flores' lead, ever. And he's a tough dude.
Yeah, he is a tough dude.
Never, ever beat the Bills, home or away. Didn't beat them.
Really?
Never won.
Really?
Never. Ever.
Arkansas, Kansas.
Arkansas, Kansas. If you want that play, 800-400-9741 or go to ParamountSports.com for that play.
Lance Leipold. Contemplating Lance Leipold as one of the 3 finalists for Nebraska's head coaching job that went to Matt Rule.
And the third one was?
Dave Doran, in my opinion. I mean,
I think Doran?
I do think
Rule
it was Doran.
And Leipold.
Yeah, I was told on the Wednesday before Black Friday that Rule has 48 hours to make the decision. And I don't know when that 48-hour clock started. I was just told that on a Wednesday, the Wednesday before Black Friday, okay? And that person told me that Leipold and Doran are the other finalists. I don't know if Lance would have taken the job, but I'm told Doran would have taken it. So it might have gone to, if Rule would have turned it down, I think Trev Alberts would have gone to either Lance or Doran. I don't know who next, but that's what I believe.
You heard Tom Dienhart say in the previous segment that he believes that Purdue was interested in Chris Kleiman at Kansas State.
That there might have been a conversation.
Which you and I both would love Chris Kleiman in Lincoln too.
Oh yeah, Kleiman would.
He just won the conference.
Kleiman would be a home run in Lafayette.
What if they beat Alabama in their bowl game?
Yeah,
it's possible.
That's like a 3-point.
Alabama does not rise up for non-playoff games. They don't play as well in those bowl games. They don't. That's fact. They just don't play as well. They're not playing for a championship. They're playing for a bowl game. It's not the same for them.